Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speakers, distinguished guests, good afternoon. In English language, we were taught that before it clocks 6, it is still afternoon. So you will bear with me when I say afternoon. My name is Pariyo, Roland, Jerry. I would love to make that correction, which is not Pariyo Jerry, it is Pariyo, Roland, Jerry. I am a writer, I am a pastor, I am an educator, I am an upcoming entrepreneur, I am a publisher, and I'm also a PhD candidate. To me, it's a great privilege to be on this space. I waited for this day, and I thank God that He gave me the grace to be part of today's gathering. I want to say a few things before I delve into what I'm supposed to talk about. The first one is that Trinity Roland is my great friend, and she's a testament of what it means to commit yourself to serve your own people. I look at that from the perspective of how we got in touch, and now looking at a dream such as this, it fills my heart with joy. To actually say that if this gathering was to stop at the time the young girl performed, her heart would be at peace. For me, if I wasn't supposed to speak, my heart would be at peace. Why? Because one dream from our own region has been nurtured. It is growing and it is hitting boundaries. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. She is lovely. At her invitation, I'm here to talk about exploring the role of publishers, the role in nurturing literature, the role in supporting writers, their role in ensuring that our region has a representation, a role in ensuring that our region is heard by everyone. To us as publishers, publishing is not just an art of transforming books or transforming manuscripts into books. To us, it is immortalizing stories. To us, it is immortalizing knowledge. To us, it is immortalizing cultural heritage. As a master's student, while we were doing cultural studies and gender studies, my desire was to try to explore what our own people have written about nature, what they have written about women, and I was a little disappointed, not because we did not have writings, but the writings were not enough to generate the kind of knowledge that I needed. And as such, my first thought was I should write my own book and put it out there. Then I approached a publisher, and the publisher told me, for you to publish with us, your initial deposit should be 2 million. You can imagine what that does to a young author who has wild dreams and has interests of promoting literature from his region. I chickened out and sat down for 1 solid year. There in Kuluva, behind the hills of Kuluva, I made a decision and I said, if this is my experience, it should not be the experience of an upcoming author from my region. Any author that I meet who wants to publish, that should not be their experience. And by the grace of God, I work with like-minded young people who believe that we must be productive and our productivity must be sustainable. And for us to achieve that sustainability, we believe in research. That is why I coordinate that team that works in the publishing firm called PSR Publishing Firm, Roland. You can find us at Social Center very soon. We will have a physical location there behind Onyimongoni Ventures. We already have the space and we're working on it so that it can become a space for people to access us. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said that to us, writing is about ensuring that our voices, our experiences, and our wisdom transcend time, reaching future generations long after we are gone. And publishers are at the heart of ensuring that this happens. I know that there is a side that believes that self-authorship, self-publishing is the way to go. I agree with them to some extent, but I also disagree with them to some extent, especially when we all come to the point where we must talk about promoting what is original. We need to speak the same voice. And like I said, publishers are at the heart of this. What's our role? We appreciate that writers are the lifeblood of any literary industry. Without writers, you cannot have a publishing firm. You need the writers. But the journey of writers from inspiration to publication is not one they will walk alone. You need a mentor. You need somebody who can show you the direction. Put aside the stereotype that publishers make a lot of money, because when you land in the hands of the right publisher, your dreams become a reality. I say Trinity is a testament of what it means to commit yourself to promote such dreams. And she can tell you what this journey has been for me and for her. It's been a wonderful journey. What roles do we play? There's a Rubara proverb which says that it has two renderings. The first rendering is that Tiaru Zenyo Kuku. The second rendering is that Tiaru Zenyo Kuku. In other words, if you are alone, you will fail to pay the dowry, you will fail to negotiate to get your wife. You need an elderly person so that you're able to get this woman home. You need a brother or a sister who can contribute one goat, one chicken, so that you're able to appreciate the family of this woman and bring this woman home. That is what publishers do. We provide editorial guidance, ensuring that manuscripts reach their highest potential. That's what we do, editorial guidance. I am a scholar of literature and a teacher of English language. And to us, when we receive a manuscript, because of the skills we've acquired, of course, in teaching the subject, our duty is to check and ensure that can this manuscript reach where it must. That's our biggest goal. If it doesn't meet the standards, we don't trash it. Our responsibility is to ensure that we guide you so that you're able to bring it to the standard that it must be. As publishers, beyond refining content, we offer mentorship, which I already talked about, connecting writers with experienced professionals who help them to sharpen their crafts. I thank God for Uganda Christian University. When they advertised their first creative writing course, my heart was filled with joy. It was such joy that I could only express to myself and keep smiling in the house. Why? I saw another promoter of talent. This time around, I believe they were not looking at it from the angle of making money, but from the angle of can we raise people who are going to immortalize the stories of West Nile. And I thank God for you, Director UCU. Trinity was part of that class, and now Heartland is working. As publishers, we facilitate access to the market. That's one of the things we do. We know that there are so many talented writers, and they struggle with access to the market. They struggle with visibility. But through strategic publishing and marketing, together with our team that does videography, the media team, this is our duty to market publishers. Give them the platform, pull them forward, talk to them, find out what have they written about. Because quite many of them are up to addressing social challenges that we're facing. Quite many of them have embraced literature as a tool for advocacy. And therefore, if you give them the opportunity, you will hear of some of the issues that they keep addressing in their literature. And I thank God, as West Nile, we're heading towards the right direction, especially with initiatives such as this. I want to point one last thing about our role, that whether through print or digital platforms, it is our duty to create opportunities for writers to have their works read, appreciated, and recognized beyond the borders of our region. When you talk about northern Uganda, the common names that reverberate in the literary arena are names such as Okon Pabite. There are names such as Taban Loliom of Sudan. But because he had a connection with Okon Pabite, you hear that name. Thank God that through names such as Dr. Sylvester Njiva, the medical personnel, now we have a representation in the curriculum. He wrote a book called The Heart Soothers. And then through the likes of our Olga, and now through the likes of Trinity Peace Roland, we have a representation. And if we can rally behind such individuals, I believe that the creative writing industry in West Nile can go beyond what we had actually imagined. We face challenges as publishers, and the challenges we face are common to all publishing houses in Uganda. According to a report in 2019, a report by Uganda Communications Commission, only 12% of books come from other parts of Uganda. In other words, from a region such as West Nile, there is a real under-representation. You might find out of 100 books published in Uganda in 1 year or more, about 80 of them come from central Uganda. The question is, what are we doing? Where are we? What's happening? And this is where, as publishers, we come in so strong. One of the gaps I saw in my region before I came back home was, we did not have a publishing house that we could call our own. I struggled to look for one. I know we have entities that try to package books together so that we can access them. But to talk about recognized publishing firms from our region was an issue, which is why with these like-minded young people, we decided and said, enough is enough, we're gonna do it. What challenges do we face? Besides the few or maybe the non-existent publishing firms, the reading culture, not only in our region, but in the nation, is still very low. It is still very low. And as such, you find it is a very difficult thing to, you face challenges when you're trying to organize an event or talk to people about reading, because as publishers, we deal with books. The other challenge we face, of course, is an issue of perception. That if it's a publishing firm, I know that I'm going to face it rough. But that is not the essence of the existence of publishing firms. And these challenges are there, but they can be addressed. A report released in 2020 by Uganda Publishers Association indicates that Uganda's book industry is dominated by educational publishing, leaving very little room for creative literature. And this has really stifled the growth of fiction, poetry, and regional storytelling. And now, as publishers and as people who are literature enthusiasts, when we rally behind such individuals as Roland, we're able to break this stereotype, we're able to break this cycle. It was amazing to hold a narrative poem, a long narrative poem, which I last held at campus in the names of Song of Lawilu, Song of Malaya, in the names of Song of the Prisoner, all works published by Okon Pabite. But when I held that work of Trinity Peace Roland, in my heart I said, this person is trying to revive a pattern which had already been established by a court. And this kind of literary genre should not go unnoticed. And it was an interesting journey publishing a manuscript of that nature. Ernest Hemingway an American author said that there is nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed. But in West Nile, even when the writers bleed onto the page, their work may never see the light of day. That has been a challenge. But now, their work is beginning to see the light of day. When you see young talents as the students from Oshindi, from Murigas and other schools, and many others who may not be in school but making an effort, these are people who are trying as much as possible to shape the emotions on paper. And it is defeating for us to run behind them. What can we do to really boost or to address these publishing challenges of West Nile? Number one, we need to encourage local investments in publishing. Our investors out there, you need to realize that this industry is an industry worth investing in. You can put your money in there and you gain from it. How do you gain from it? The lives that are transformed, the stories that are told, besides the monetary value that may come with it along the way. These are key things that you will achieve when you invest in the publishing industry. If you can't invest in a publishing industry, at least invest in an author. Invest in a person like Roland. Buy books, send them to schools. Let the learners believe that West Nile region has a representation and they can actually stand on the shoulders of these people to take it further. We need to prioritize local stories. We need to prioritize our history, our folklore, our contemporary experiences. We need to prioritize them. I was doing research about the war that we experienced in this region. My heart was depressed by the things I read about it. But at some point I also said, the person who has written about this war may not be this person is not from our region. This person could have misrepresented us. And like our great guest speaker said, that people can misrepresent you if you don't represent yourself. In a workshop with NCDC, someone made a statement and said that if you don't speak for yourself, no one will speak for you. If we don't support an author like this, no one is going to support them. Because her story carries my story and it carries your story. And we are the ones to push this story far. As I draw towards the conclusion, we can foster a culture of reading. We have creative writing classes in schools. I want to appeal to school heads, to institutions. Open the doors for publishers. Open those doors so that they can get in and nurture the literature that is in the learners. I know we are a little protective when it comes to handling our learners. But one of the things that is going to make them thrive in their creative writing clubs is when you give platform for influential people to come in and help them. If the doors remain closed, they will not grow. But I believe that they can grow if only we open the doors. The community-based clubs, let's revive them. Let's have them working. As publishers, we know we have a role to play. And this is one of the things that my team is set forth to do. We need to revive the culture of club reading, the culture of doing things in groups. We could pick a book like Before the Twilight Fades, and firstly from its title, Before the Twilight of Our Club's Fate, we need to pick a book such as that and talk about the issues they raise. We need to embrace one important thing, translation. Firstly, of our own works. Because if we don't translate our own works, we have locals who have not been to school, but they can read our language. These people need our stories. I want to also appeal to the writers that embrace local language. One of our goals for this year is to publish literature in the local language, particularly in Lubarati. Of course, it was a very heartbreaking experience when we all failed to sing our own anthem. And I promised myself that by tomorrow, I must get this anthem here, because it is heartbreaking. Really heartbreaking. It's very challenging. How about the writings in our language which are not there? I have 2 works in BYTF which are on the syllabus. One is called Oli Onzatani. The other one is a translation of a poetry anthology published by Munigas SS. It's called Tender Streams, but it was translated, and when the quality of that work was checked, NCDC decided to give it an upper hand as a book that must go on the syllabus in the local language. Now, we need more of this, and they're here, seated in front of me. Some of them have names such as Ngaka, Akiko, Fenia. They are here. We need them out. As publishers, we are here for you to help you push them. I appreciate Trinity Goron. When I held that conversation with her, she had prepared before I even came to her, and that blessed my heart. We need this work in other languages as well. We need to leverage on technology and ensure that we can use our digital platforms so that we bypass traditional publishing costs and make books more easily accessible. One of the things you could do as a writer is make it simple. Get your ISBN, get your copyright, get your work in soft copy. Let it traverse places. You will go for the hard copies later. And we're here to make sure such things happen because we must push the literary industry of West Nile very far. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, if I lamented, know that it is for a cause, because I do not love the book of Lamentations. I love the book of Revelation because it speaks a lot about the future. I strongly believe that the creative writing industry in West Nile holds immense potential. Immense potential. Not just for entertainment, but for education, for advocacy, for economic growth. We must rise up and seize the occasion so that we champion the cause for literature from West Nile. The great Chinua Achebe said that the writer cannot expect to be excused from the task of bringing his own people to a consciousness of their destiny. And so by fostering collaboration among writers, publishers, and stakeholders, we can create a thriving literary platform that celebrates the revelation of West Nile to a world that doesn't know West Nile. Let us invest in our writers. Let's protect our literary heritage. If you can give, please give. If you cannot write and an author says, I am here to write, can you support me? Support them. Perhaps in them you would have written your story. Let us build publishing industries. We are registered. Can we have more of them? Very soon we are rebranding to our own language, Loberea. Loberea is a small linguistic used for stirring. The essence of stirring the hearts of people to do something. That's what we want to rebrand to. And my belief is that we can have more Lobereas from amongst you, from those who are listening us, and from everyone who believes in the dream of a person like Trinity Goron. I speak this in the names of what we stand for as PSR publishers. We nurture literature, and we are committed to preserving nature. Thank you for listening.